have to talk about Iran. And it has been the war in Iran and the disruption of the Strait of Hormuz that has been a direct feed input into those increased costs. We're several months into this war right now.
That's right.
How would you address this going forward? What should the Americans be doing?
Well, look, we're seeing American people and the good people of Pennsylvania see the effects of this war of choice every single day when they go to the gas pump and they're paying over $4 a gallon for gas. And of course, the cost of a barrel of oil has an impact on so many different points in our economy. So you're seeing everything cost more because of the president's war of choice. The president was unclear as to why we were going into Iran in the first place, which is why it's been so damn hard for him to get out, because he doesn't know why he went in. He never articulated a clear vision to the American people or to our allies. We are more isolated in the world because of the president's decision to strike unilaterally. The effect of this war has been to replace a 90-year-old Ayatollah with a roughly 60-year-old Ayatollah who's even more hardline. The effect of this war has been not to dismantle all of their nuclear capabilities and destroy the materials, but rather it seems that the Iranians continued to possess that material based on public reporting. Their arsenal of weapons were not degraded to the point that the president has said in his bloviation and in his rhetoric that has been really irresponsible in this. And I think he's isolated us further in the world. It is time to bring this war to an end and to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. And then it seems that the president continues to be knocking on the door of a deal to do that and then negotiate the nuclear pieces next. It would be unfortunate if after all that, that's where we find ourselves. In effect, in the same place when it comes to nuclear material, and in a place where our economy has taken a hit, and in a place where now the Iranians control the Strait of Hormuz. He's got to figure out a way to get himself out of this mess that he created. And every day this goes on, it costs the people of Pennsylvania even more. It costs the American people even more.
President Trump made the decision unilaterally to go into the war in Iran, but they went into war with Israel. Israel is not as popular in the United States today as it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, especially among young people, including in Pennsylvania. Do you think U.S. policy towards Israel needs to change, and if so, how?
Well, it's clear it needs to change, and I think it needs to change in a way that benefits America's national security interests first and foremost. I think one of the first things that needs to change is the MOU that relates to arms sales. I think Prime Minister Netanyahu said recently they want to begin to wean off of American arms, and I think that that is an important step. I think second, we need to make sure that the U.S. administration is pushing for a global peace in the region. I'm someone who has supported a two-state solution, a Palestinian state and the Israelis living side by side in peace, where that Palestinian state recognizes Israel's right to exist, where the terrorist group Hamas is not in charge of that Palestinian state, where they have self-determination on the other side of that border. I think that's in America's national security interest. But let me be clear, that should not just include the Palestinians and the Israelis. I think you need to have a global, if you will, peace in the Middle East with the 20-plus Arab nations joining into, if you will, a broader Abraham Accords or whatever that would be called. It is important to create stability in that region for U.S. interests, and that would be my hope, that we could have an administration in Washington that's focused on that.
There was a broad agreement with the United States and most everyone in the region in terms of a phase one of a peace deal. You even got a Security Council resolution in favor of that. But as you say, absent a Palestinian state, it's very hard to imagine how the vision that you just put together would actually emerge.
This is where American leadership needs to come in. A lot of folks, I say this respectfully, have said, well, is that really reasonable? Is that really a possibility, I should say, in this political climate? It must be. We need to make sure that there is stability and peace in the region. We need to make sure that Palestinians, not Hamas, but the Palestinian people, have the ability to see their kids grow up and be anything they want to be, to grow up and not viewing the Israelis on the other side of the border as the enemy, and to be in a place where that stability leads to greater stability across the globe, and that is in America's national security interest, and we should have an administration focused on that.